Graduated early. I graduated a semester early thinking, as if this matters for TV, I'm going to be ahead of the curve of all the people applying to jobs. Like it's the 80s and we're all going to Wall Street or something. Like ridiculous. So I graduate the end of 2013. I knew nothing. I knew not one thing to do.
Yeah.
The only things I did that were like entertainment related right after school was this professor. She would do this like breast cancer benefit night of one acts every year, and I would do
cool.
stage crew for free so that I could stay in her orbit.
Yep.
And then she had a friend who was a producer who did who I would PA for doing like 20-hour long commercial shoots, making $200 or whatever.
Yep.
So it was just that.
Like your foot is just a little in the door.
But it's still like none of those things feel cumulative.
No,
like
they
when I
don't.
look back, I can like create a roadmap for how things happen. But in the moment, it was like, okay, I'm doing this thing that doesn't make me any money. This thing that makes me money doesn't make me enough money to eat.
Yes.
And I'm not like, I'm meeting people, but it's like, I'm not meeting people who are going to help me be at TV. Like it just, none of it was making sense at the time.
You're not feeling like you're on the track. What then is that jump for you? And how long does that take before you're like, okay, I am on the path now?
Well, I got absurdly, ridiculously lucky. So I'm doing those things. I'm doing like transcription for journalists, which actually is probably the most helpful thing one can do for dialogue writing. Because you're just listening to people speak on how people actually talk.
Right.
As opposed to how you'd like them to talk.
Yes.
And now looking back, I'm like, this was 5 minutes long. At the time, it seemed interminable. I had done one short film for a Outfest.
Okay.
Like I had done a fellowship program, but then it was also like I did the short film. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared. It went nowhere. Like it was just like great. Nothing is cumulative.
And again, you're in the headspace of like, okay, maybe this is going to be it.
Nothing is it.
And then it's, okay.
No, nothing is ever it until the thing that's it.
Yes.
And then I got ridiculously lucky. This professor called me. She said that she had this show for Netflix.
Yep.
And would we want to be like, would Caroline want to be her assistant and I would be the writer's assistant. And she was like, it's about this like Cuban family and the daughter's gay and like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes, are you kidding me? Because I'm taking this call like naked with like a 2-week-old Domino's pizza on my lap. Because I would buy one Domino's pizza a month and stretch it. And get so ill. And I was like, yes, are you yes. I had there was and then
truly.
And of course now the things I had done prior to that where she was like, I had helped her for free and that her friend, this producer that I worked for, that was her friend, could speak to the fact that I was a hard worker and she was like, what have you been doing since I last saw you? And I had made a film. Like,
yes. So
then all these things they were cumulative. In the moment,
you just don't realize it in the moment.
And you need the catalyst.
Such a good lesson for anyone at any age working towards something. You don't realize the building blocks sometimes.
Because nothing feels like it adds up to anything until suddenly it does. And it's like the most, you can't, it's so confounding. And I was still super young.
Was that one day at a time?
So the day after she calls, she was like, so we actually can't find any, and this is how different things were at the time. She was like, there are no young gay Latina writers.
Oh, wow. This is 2013, 2014,
this was like 2015 maybe when she was like, there aren't none of and so would you guys, instead of being assistants, would you just want to staff? And it's like, what are we going to be like? No, we'd rather.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd rather do it the hard way. So
you kind of cut the line to some degree.
And she was
never work as a writer's assistant and are just a staff writer, we should say, is sort of the entry level writing
TV
job.
writing
but you are on that writing staff.
Yes.
Incredible.
So she was like, great. We were like, yes. And she's like, great. Send me your samples tomorrow.
Okay.
And
you had them?
And your meeting will be on Monday. No, I did not have them.
Wait. Okay. Go on. But
this is what you can do when you're just turned 23.
And you have 2-week-old Domino pizza that you're like, never again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was like, I need an original piece and I need a spec because that was what you needed at the time. They were still doing specs because there were still shows that like everyone watched.
Yeah.
And so I had written something in college I knew she hadn't read that was original. So I was like, beef that up a little bit.
Yes.
And then the only show I could think to do a spec of was Broad City. So in the middle of the night, I wrote a Broad City spec, which I looked at recently. And if you like you can see the periods are like this big because it's probably like 12 pages adjusted for and then like I sent them to her at like 6 a.m.
Did you ever end up showing Abby that?
No, I didn't tell her for like 5 years because I was like, I don't want her. I don't want her to know this. I would never let her see it. So I wrote this Broad City spec in the middle of the night, and I sent this other thing that I had written in school, and then she was like, great, staffing meeting on Monday. And then so we start. So then that was I got to truly. That's why it's like when somebody's like, how did you get started? I'm like, I don't know if it's a useful story at all, because it was like, God came down and granted me my dream job.
And also, so this was on One Day at a Time.
Yes.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
Which was such an incredible show, and was also, so it was a remake or a reboot, I should say, but also kind of in that moment, it felt really like, I don't know if groundbreaking is the right word, but it was really like, oh, they're doing something different here and everyone is loving it. And it is both like a return to a form, but also feels very modern.
It was a very special show. I think that Norman Lear model is timeless in a way. I mean, less so now because news moves so quickly, but like in terms of like, if you want to make a family sitcom about something, like that sort of Norman Lear kind of like everybody's got sort of a different opinion, and we can have like a weekly issue and we can talk about it, but in a way that feels like coming from the characters as opposed to like issue down.
Yes,
like
totally.
Hopefully it feels like character up, but and also like to be a first-time writer and work on a multicam, which I don't know that I would want to do a multicam again, because it's such a writer's medium. You have to be there for every single part of it, and you have to do things so quickly.
Yes.
You will never have to work that quickly again.
From friends I have who've worked on multicams, they talk about it. It's akin to being on stage.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's like a play. You're doing a play every week.
Yeah.
And like as an actor, when people like run lines up to you, like new alts, and you have to like on the fly do them, and then we're on the like needing to be on the floor and come up with a new joke.
The pressure of that.
But it's such a thrill, and when it actually goes in, but then you'll never ever have to work that quickly again. But it develops in a great muscle, I think.
Well, totally. It reminds me, and these references might be too old for you, but like the Sorkin dialogue on The West Wing, right? Or even when Scandal was on, and the Shonda dialogue, and just how like quickly it all moves, and the walk and talks and everything. To have to use that muscle early in your career like you had to, that's such an amazing foundation to lay.
And also because you have to go to rehearsal every day as a writer. Like you have to go to all the run-throughs, and to immediately see how what you write on the page, like how it sounds up, is so helpful for, because it's like the way people say things is very different than the way that you write them, and to like learn how to like mold to that. I think it's like one of the best, and I got to be on it for 3 years. So it was like one of the best like learning experiences. Yeah.
So you leave One Day at a Time. You have ascended beyond staff writer at that point?
Yes, we had gone, my writing partner and I, it was the staff writer, story editor, executive story editor. We did, we were on track. Yeah, so we had also worked on, in the off season between, we had worked on the show called The Bold Type.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Freeform.
Yes, people love The Bold Type.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew you were on that show.
Yes, we were on the second season.
I was making Alone Together at the same time at Freeform. And
remember those early Freeform days?
I sure do.
Oh.
God, those were delightful.
Then I think right after that, I started on the horror of Dolores Roach.
Yes.
And then right after that, I went back to League.
Okay, so then the League experience is great, and also waiting to see if you're going to have that second season is such a long, arduous thing. And I want to say that is when we met.
I think that's right.